Hey, what's up everyone? Chris here, and on today's episode of Board Game Design Time, I want to talk a little bit about stealing mechanics. That's right, taking mechanics from existing games and using them for your creations. It's something that comes up a lot, and a lot of people are really sort of trepidatious. That's not the word. A lot of people are a little bit insecure with taking things from games because you never quite know what counts as inspiration and what counts as copying. One of the problems is that popular views of creative pursuits will openly laud those who innovate or invent certain styles or ways of thinking. However, a lot of creative people tend to realize that the basis of their creation and nearly every single invention that man has ever made has been the result of observation and subsequent curiosity. So naturally, we're influenced by the world around us. We remix our experiences and we filter them through the lens of our perspectives. That's part of what being a creative person is. So I'm here to tell you that you don't need to create a new and unique mechanic to make a new and unique game. In fact, sitting down and trying to come up with a new mechanic, opening up a notebook, and coming up with something from your head that is entirely new or unique is at best naive and at worst absolutely crippling. Innovation is fed through inspiration. You want to allow yourself to be inspired by the world around you, and this means allowing yourself to be inspired by the games you hear about, you learn about, and you play. The one thing that I want to get out of the way when I'm talking about stealing is I'm not talking about copying. Copying a game is something different. When I'm talking about stealing a mechanic, I'm talking about taking an element of something, tweaking it, and creating something new out of the ingredient. Now, most people are going to look at me and say, well, that's not stealing, that's borrowing. But I felt borrowing was a weird term to use because you don't ever really give it back. You take it and you make it your own. Copying games can't actually advance the art form. If you're just trying to make a cheap knockoff of something that already exists, that's not going to do anybody any favors. But stealing, taking something, altering it, and making it your own can and often does. I guess in some ways I'm talking about like a board game chop shop, where you take the car and then you repaint it so no one knows that you took it. That's a bad example. Moving on. One more thing that I do want to get out of the way though when I'm talking about stealing is don't actually steal from people. You wouldn't steal someone's bike, you wouldn't steal someone's money, don't steal another person's art. What I'm referring to is observing something that someone has already created, internalizing it, and interpreting it in a way that's different, that gives you the inspiration to come up with something else entirely. You have to be willing to steal fearlessly. The minute you allow yourself to be dissuaded from exploring the what if of a game design question just because you're worried about the what if I'm making a knockoff question, you've allowed your creativity to be stifled. And that's what we want to get around and get past. We don't want to allow the fear of what something may or may not become stop us before we've even started. You want to play more games, and you want to give yourself the permission to take the elements you like from the games you love and explore them. At the end of the day, you may decide that your game does feel a bit derivative, or that there isn't enough new things that you've added to it to distance itself from its inspirations. And that's fine. You can keep it to yourself if you want. This entire show is about making games for fun, so I'm not even talking about taking something and releasing it. I'm talking about just getting the design started in the first place. So if you want to keep it to yourself, you can do that. No harm done. You've explored the mechanic, you've seen what it can do, you've added your twist on it, and you can be done with it. You just want to make sure that you're allowing yourself to be shamelessly inspired, and the design process will find a way of working itself out. I have a few personal stories about taking game mechanics, tweaking them, and making them my own in my blog. You can go down below to the 1000XP blog, click on that link right there, and that will take you to a post that I wrote recently about this. And really allow yourself to explore these things. It's completely okay. Most creatives will tell you the same thing. Art is about being inspired by other things in the world around us. Give yourself permission to explore those things and you'll be better off for it, especially when you're getting started with design. Allow yourself the permission to work in other people's sandboxes. It will really help you out, and it will get you doing the most important thing that you can do to start becoming an actual game designer, and that is to design games. That's going to be it for today. Make sure to subscribe in case you want to get more updates like this in the future. Board Game Design Time is all about inspiring you to go out and design stuff. It's a ton of fun, and until next time, I'll see you later. Peace. I almost did the wave, but then I'd audible to peace. Because we need more of that in the world. Less wave, more peace.